Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. So where's the other book already? Okay. Today, inshallah, we will be discussing Sujood al-Sahw, which is the sujood, the prostration that we should be doing if we forget something in the salah. Specifically, if we forget a rukn or a wajib. And we talked about the definition of the rukn and the wajib at the very beginning of the classes talking about the salah. The integral parts of the salah are the rukn. And those integral parts, if they are missed, whether intentionally or unintentionally, then that rak'ah is not valid at all. While the wajib, if they are missed intentionally, the rak'ah is not valid. If somebody forgets, the rak'ah is still valid, but he has to do sujood al-sahw. So for the rukn, you would have to go back and do the rukn. But because of the disturbance in the salah and the forgetfulness, you still have to do sujood al-sahw. For the wajib, you don't have to go back and do it, but you have to do sujood al-sahw at the end of the salah. Some general rulings regarding sujood al-sahw, whether it is before the salam or after the salam, scholars have differed. So some scholars just said you can do it all before the salam. Some said all after the salam. Generally, the consensus is that whether you do it before the salam or after the salam, your salah is valid. That's one point. So we shouldn't differ at all before the salam or after the salam. But some madhahib said all before, some madhahib said all after, because the hadith, some of them indicate before, some of them indicate after. That's why they differed. And the best of all opinions would be that whenever we come into a scenario similar to one of the scenarios in which the Prophet ﷺ did sujood al-sahw, and it is mentioned that he specifically did it before or after the salam, then you follow that if you can. If you remember those scenarios, that is best. That you do it, if he did it before the salam in a specific scenario, you do it before the salam. Did it after the salam in a specific scenario and you fall into that scenario, you do it after the salam. The general rule is that, and you'll see from the hadith, is that if the salah is deficient, if you've forgotten something in the salah, you missed out on something, you do it before the salam. You'll see in the hadith. Also, if you have doubt in the salah, the doubt came to you and you didn't know whether you prayed 2 or 3, so you said, okay, I'm going to consider it 2, and you build on that. Because of that forgetfulness, the shak and doubt, you do it before the salam. While if you have added something to the salah, such as added a rak'ah, you did a 5th rak'ah in a 4th rak'ah salah, then you do it after the salam. Let's go through the scenarios. Also, we mentioned something else. If you are praying behind the imam and you are the one who forgot, you do not do sujood al-sahw. You do not do sujood al-sahw. The only condition you do sujood al-sahw if you're praying behind the imam is if you have missed part of the salah and you got up after the salah has finished to make it up and you forgot in that part. You forgot, the forgetfulness or the disturbance in the salah happened in that part that you were doing on your own. Then you can do sujood al-sahw. And some scholars said not even then. Some scholars said not even then. Because the hadith says, يُصَلُّونَ لَكُمْ, means the imams, they pray for you or on your behalf, or they lead the salah on your behalf. This is the meaning, يُصَلُّونَ لَكُمْ. فَإِنْ أَصَابُوا فَلَكُمْ وَلَهُمْ. If they do good, then it's in your interest and in their interest. It counts for you and them. وَإِنْ أَخْطَأُوا, and if they make a mistake, فَلَكُمْ وَعَلَيْهِمْ. You are safe, nothing on you, but the mistake is on the imam. Of course, if he forgot and it's not a deliberate mistake, it just means that he is the one responsible for sujood al-sahw. There's no ithm, there's no sin on him, of course. And if the imam forgot and you did not forget behind the imam and he does sujood al-sahw, what do? You follow him. No, you follow him. You follow the imam in sujood al-sahw. Yes. You follow him, sir. You follow him in sujood al-sahw. I'll get to that point that you just talked about. So if the imam does sujood al-sahw, you follow him, although you're not the one who did sujood al-sahw. Because the imam is to be followed. We mentioned in most situations, except in that scenario where you're sure the imam is doing something totally wrong, such as adding a 5th rak'ah and a 4th rak'ah salah, then you do not follow him. You do not follow him. You just sit and you say subhanallah until he, corrects himself and knows that he's making a mistake, he goes back down, then you and him do sujood al-sahw together, okay? But you follow him. We follow the imam if he prayed sitting. If he's the regular imam and something happened, he prayed sitting, we all sit. Although we can stand, and the standing is a rukn of arkan al-salah. You give that rukn up for following the imam. This shows the importance that Islam gives to unity of the community. Okay, because we see in some communities everyone wants to do his own thing. No, you have to give up your own opinion for the opinion of the leader of that community. Go ahead.
If the imam is sick, or if they are unable to stand, or for example they pray sitting down, the people behind can do the same thing?
Yes, that's exactly what I said. They have to, they actually have to. We talked about this before. Yes.
But in the situation where imam rules for the fifth rakah.
Yes, you don't follow him. And you asked that same question before.
Yes, there's something I want to ask now. Okay, so if I did not follow him,
yes,
but he's now doing sujood sahwi, so I will need to follow him for sujood sahwi.
Yes, you follow him sujood sahwi.
Despite that, I didn't commit that fifth rakah.
That's exactly what I said. You follow
why did I not follow him for the fifth rakah?
because if you follow him in fifth rak'ah, then you have messed up the salah. But sujood al-sahw is not messing up the salah. It's not considered an addition that would basically render the salah, corrupt. Okay.
So my thing is, when we know the procedure of praying when we are standing up, ruku, sujood, but if the imam is sitting, we don't know what he's doing. How are we supposed to know, the people at the back, what they're supposed to do for the sujood?
Yeah, just by the takbir. Just like if you're praying and not seeing the imam at all, you hear Allahu Akbar, ruku' come next. Sami Allahu hamida. Okay?
But there is no sin for a person to just stand up and pray like regular prayer. They can do it too.
No, they shouldn't do that.
They shouldn't do it?
No, should not. No. There's a hadith on this matter. لو طلعنا حديث عدم مخالفة الإمام حتى في حديث أظن قال لهم يعني إنهم أحسنوا وخالفوا اليهود والنصارى إنهم اتبعوا الإمام. شوفوا الحديث ده معلش. He will look up for the hadith on following the Imam if he sits down. Okay? Okay. Sujood al-sahw. Basically sujood al-sahw, we call it sujood al-sahw, but it's two sajda. It's not one sajda, it's two sajda. Just like the sajda of the salah. Sujood in salah is two sajda, not one. Okay? Different from sujood al-tilawa and sujood al-shukr. Sujood al-tilawa and shukr is only one sajda. Okay? Sujood al-sahw is not followed by tashahhud again. Of course, if you do it before the salam, then you have to do the salam. And then if you do it after the salam, you do sujood al-sahw, then you do salam again. You do salam again. But you don't do tashahhud. Okay?
A lot of people I have seen, how they do it is they say just one salam, and then they make the ruku, and then they say two salam.
No, there's no point in this making a distinction at all between the number of salam, first and last. There's nothing to show that. If somebody, basically, we should always try to do two salam. We talked about this. The first salam is the salam that really counts, but Prophet ﷺ almost always did two salam. So we shouldn't really differ from that. We have to do two salam. Now, but I did mention the ijma' Ibn al-Mundhir, I think, that if somebody does one salam, their salah is valid. That we mentioned before. I just don't recall it right now. It's a consensus that if somebody does one salam only, where did we read that? I will go back to it at one point, and maybe it's in another volume. I don't even recall. Okay, we'll get to that hadith soon. Okay, now let's go through the scenarios real quick here because time is going fast. In one hadith, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, the hadith of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri talks about having doubt in the number of rak'at, for instance, or the number of sujood, or have you done ruku' or not, every kind of doubt like this. He says, if you have doubt in your salah and you didn't know how many rak'at you have prayed, 3 or 4, then put your doubt aside and build on what you are sure about. And what he means here, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is that if you are doubting, is it 2 or 3? What you are sure about here is at least 2. But What you are doubting is number 3. This is the one you put aside as if you have not done it. Okay? And then you build on the 2.
هذا اللي قاعد يشرح ابن باز.
No, we're talking about الجلوس خلف الإمام.
الجلوس.
إذا صلى جالسا نعم. Okay. It says, and you build on that, then you do سجدتين قبل أن يسلم. Here he said, before the salam. Doubt, before the salam. Okay? The way I remember it is that doubt and missing, both are deficiencies. Doubt is a deficiency, and missing part of the salah is a deficiency. For the deficiencies, you do the sujood al-sahw before the salam. Okay? Remember that. Also, another hadith Abu Hurairah. This is, they call it hadith Dhul Yadayn, the man with 2 hands. Of course, everybody has 2 hands, but why is it called Dhul Yadayn? Because the man who reminded the Prophet ﷺ in this hadith, he had very long arms, and they used to call him the man with 2 hands. So he said here, Prophet ﷺ one time he prayed Dhuhr or Asr, but he made salam after 2 rak'at. Then Prophet ﷺ went and sat next to a pole in the masjid doing dhikr, and he didn't even realize there was something wrong with the salah. So most people just were too afraid to go and talk to him, or out of respect they just did not wish. Some of them said maybe the salah has been shortened, because that's what happens when they're traveling. Says maybe he's showing us that you can do that maybe even when you're not traveling. So some people actually thought, oh, the salah has been shortened, and they left. Okay. No. نعم بالضبط كده، هو ده الحديث كنت عايزه. Yeah, this is the hadith that I wanted. There's more than one hadith, but this one here, Prophet ﷺ was sick, so he prayed while sitting, and Abu Bakr Siddiq was doing the takbir loudly so people can hear, because he couldn't do the takbir loud. And then Prophet ﷺ felt that people were standing behind him, not sitting, so he actually went like this for them to sit, to make them sit down. So they sat down. When he finished, he says, you have almost done what the people of Persia and the Romans do. They stand while their kings are sitting. Do not do so. You have to follow your imam. If he prays standing, you pray standing, or if he prays sitting, you pray sitting. That's in Sahih Muslim, authentic hadith. We read another hadith before that. وإذا صلى قاعدا فصلوا قعودا أجمعين. This is in Bukhari, also in Muslim. Okay, جزاك الله خير. Thank you. Yes, so Dhul Yadayn was the only one who felt that he should go and talk to him. He went and talked to him. He says to him, was the salah shortened for some reason? Did you get a revelation shortening the salah today, or what? Or did you forget? He says, no, it wasn't shortened, and I did not forget. Up until now, he did not realize. But he says, Bala qad nasit. He says, no, you have forgotten then. So Prophet ﷺ then looked at the people. أَحَقٌ مَا يَقُولُ ذُو الْيَدَيْنِ. Is it true what Dhul Yadayn is saying? They said yes. So he got up, he did 2 more rak'at. Then he did sujood. Here the sujood, according to other narrations, was clearly before the salam. Now, another hadith was the hadith where he added the 5th rak'ah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I think I read it here. Yes, we talked about the shak. The second scenario is making salam before you finish the salah. You could maybe shorten, if you did the 3 rak'at, maghrib 2 rak'at, you do the same thing here. If you add rak'at, such as one time Prophet ﷺ prayed the dhuhr 5 rak'at, he did the sujood after the salam. When he ﷺ missed one time the middle tashahhud, when he missed the middle tashahhud, he did the sujood before the salam. Okay, when he missed the middle tashahhud, he did the sujood before the salam. He told us that we have doubt, we do the sujood before the salam. So missing or having doubt before. When he added the 5th rak'ah, he did it after the salam. Hadith al-Yadayn, astaghfirullah, it is after the salam. Hadith al-Yadayn is actually, you might think it's a deficiency, but it isn't. It is an addition. Because you added a full tashahhud in the middle of the salah, then you added another tashahhud at the end. You follow? So it is actually an addition to the salah. So that one was after the salam. But if you don't remember, that is fine. Before or after is all good. Now, if somebody forgot a rukn, and we talked about this before, he has to go back to that rukn and do it. Otherwise, the rak'ah would be rendered invalid. And then he has to do the order again. So let's say he forgot that rukn until he got to the following rak'ah. Some scholars say until he got to the following rak'ah or started the following rak'ah. Some scholars say until he actually gets to that same rukn from the following rak'ah. You follow? Somebody forgot one sajda in the first rak'ah. Then he remembered before he got up, then he has to go down. Some scholars say that if he remembers even before he gets to the first sujood in the following rak'ah, he goes back and does the one sujood and considers that the first rak'ah still.
If he has a doubt.
Sorry?
If he has a doubt, maybe it's a one sujood or two sujood, then he goes back.
If he has a strong doubt that he cannot yurajjah, he cannot weigh against that doubt, that probably I did it. If he has ghalabat al-dhan, that he thinks probably I did it, then he shouldn't doubt it. But if his doubt is really strong, that 50-50, then yes, he's going to have to leave that and do another sujood. Correct. Now. Yes.
Example, Salat al-Sirriya.
Yes.
When you leave, example, you forget Fatiha. You just start after Takbirah and another surah. You forget Fatiha.
You forgot Fatiha.
You say Fatiha through.
Yes.
Then you during the Salah, after 2 rak'ah, maybe after 3 rak'ah.
You remember you did not do the Fatiha.
No, you didn't read Fatiha. So you after for 5 rak'ah, you remember you have to what? You have to continue Salah.
Yes.
Okay, you say before, if Imam is stand up for 5 rak'ah,
Yes.
don't follow.
Yes.
So that is a mistake. We don't know.
Exactly.
What we will do, barakallah fi.
Yes, if the Imam, for instance, we talk about the Imam who forgot here.
Imam, in Salat al-Sirriya. Example,
Okay.
you forget
Zuhr and
Fatiha.
Asri.
Yes, he forgot the Fatiha.
Yeah, so you stand up for,
Yeah.
start for 5 rak'ah.
Yeah, that's a tough question. I don't know how it came to your mind, Yani. So,
And I have a similar question.
Yani you're assuming that the Imam forgot the Fatiha in 1 rak'ah, and you don't know what he forgot, correct?
Yeah.
And now he's getting up to do a 5th rak'ah to make up for that rak'ah that he missed.
I will say,
No. I think I've never come across this question or heard anybody answer it, but I think here you still do not follow because you are responsible for what you know, not for what he is thinking. Even if he continues the whole rak'ah, maybe let him continue the whole rak'ah. In this scenario, you are right and he is right.
Yes,
Correct.
both of us.
You are right and he's right. عاد عليك سؤال ده؟
Yeah, Sheikh Uthman Khamis, he mentioned that.
والله.
Yes, that's a
So he says, Sheikh Uthman al-Khamis, who's a big scholar, mashallah, in Kuwait, did he answer in the same way?
He said, follow the Imam because you don't know what his mistake.
No, you don't follow him in 5th rak'ah.
No, for Rak'ah. Follow him with the Sujood Sahw.
Yes, you follow him.
Don't follow him because the Imam, he points out.
But here you wait for him. You sit and because if the Imam is going to add a 5th rak'ah, some scholars said you wait for him until he sits back down. Some scholars said that you depart from him completely and you make your own salam and you finish your salah. Yes. There's 2 opinions in this matter. Some scholars said that if you find the Imam, if you're sitting for the tashahhud and he wants to get up and do a 5th rak'ah, no, you sit, you do your tashahhud and you depart from him. Especially if he insists. If you remind him and he doesn't want to be reminded. So that's one scenario. You leave and he continues his salah, both of you guys are right. You follow? Or you just sit down and follow and wait for him until he finishes that rak'ah. He sits down again, you do salam with him and you do sujood as-sahw with him. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to let's say, what if the Imam, if he realized in this case, in after the fourth rakah, maybe he should just finish his salah, say the salam, and then separately perform his fifth rakah?
No, he shouldn't do that because he knows a salah is deficient. If he makes salam and he knows that he's only prayed 3 rak'at and not 4 rak'at because the first rak'at didn't count because he forgot to say the Fatiha, then he's totally disturbed the salah. If he makes salam, then he's وَتَحْلِيلُهَا التَّسْلِيم. The hadith says the conclusion of the salah is salam. So if he made salam, then he has finished his salah. He can't just get up and say, oh, let me tell you, I forgot Fatiha, let's do one more rak'ah. No, I don't think he can make salam here. He is obligated to do what he knows, and you are obligated to do what you know. Okay.
So I have another question. So if you say the salam and you missed a rukun, then you have to repeat the whole salam. You can't just do the rukun that you missed.
If you missed, if you missed, for instance, like a rukun just before the salam, like tashahhud or sajda before the salam.
Yeah, but you have said the salam. And
Oh, you said the salam.
remember that you missed the rukun.
Absolutely, you have to repeat the salam.
Repeat the whole salam.
You have to repeat the
But
salam.
in this case, the hadith you just said, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he just prayed 2 rakah, he didn't repeat the whole.
Oh, he did the whole 2 rakat,
Additional.
and yes, he did 2 more rakat, 2 more rakat.
Yeah, but he just added 2 rakah, he didn't do 4 rakah, right?
No, 2 rakat only. He
Yeah.
only added 2 rakat. He forgot when he made salam after 2 rakat. Okay, he thought the salah was done. Okay, there's a different scenario. Here, the scenario you're telling me, the imam knows his salah is deficient. Here he forgot and he did salam after 2 rakat. So here he got up and did 2 more rakat, tashahhud, salam. That completes his salah.
So that's what I was saying. If the imam, after he finishes his salah, then he remembers that he may have missed a rukun,
Yes.
for example, then instead of doing a rukun like you're saying, he has to do the whole salah.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Because it's a similar scenario.
No, exactly. He has to know. He can add the rak'ah that he has missed. Like let's say he was supposed to do a 4 rak'at salah and he missed the rukun in one of the rak'at. Okay, then 1 rak'ah is not counting. Then he would have to do it. If the separation is not long, if he did not he cannot, for instance, wait for such a long period of time. If the separation is long, then you have to do the whole salah again. If the separation is long, you have to do. But if it's short like this, scholars say that if it's only a few questions and they were still in the masjid, then he only adds to the salah. He doesn't have to do the whole salah again. Correct.
هنا الفيديو الأستاذ عبد العزيز الفوزان يقول إذا العلم والإمام أنه زاد ركعة يعرفون بزاد ركعة فما يتابعون لأن حرام
صح
يجلسون
صح
بس السجود السهو
معه. Okay, same we said. You don't follow the imam and you just wait and then you do sujood al-sahw with him after the salam, of course. Here, one more thing. If you forgot sujood al-sahw, if you remember it shortly after, then you do it. Ibn Baz, rahimahullah, he says, even if you remember it later on, hours later, you still do it to be on the safe side. Okay? Then you do sajda and you do salam again. Because, why is that? Because some scholars say that if you forget sujood al-sahw, for leaving out a rukun, for instance, or something like that, then your salah is invalid. Some scholars said that because that is the only way sujood al-sahw is what completes your salah. So better to do sujood al-sahw even if you forgot it later. Here, this scholar here, the author of this book, he says if you forget sujood al-sahw, there's nothing on you. He's taken a hadith ربنا لا تؤاخذنا نسينا أخطأنا قال قد فعلت that رفع عن أمتي خطأ والنسيان, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has pardoned us if we forget. So you may take it this way or you may take it this way. Okay, I think better to do it because when we forget, then we are pardoned until we remember. Just like somebody forgot to pray, he is pardoned all this time. He forgot to pray Dhuhr until Isha, for instance. Then he remembered while sitting home like this, oh, I didn't do Dhuhr today. So he was pardoned all this time. Once he remembers, he can't say, oh, I'm pardoned still. No, he has to go and do the Zuhr Salah, even if it's nighttime. Okay? Okay, I think we finished Sujood Sahw. I think we didn't cover here? If, by the way, if somebody forgot the middle tashahhud and he got up, if he still is not totally upright, he should sit back down. If he's totally upright, got up, he should not go back down. He should not go back down, okay? Because there's a hadith on this matter.
The person doesn't have to do the second tashahhud then? He just goes to the final. If they missed the second.
If they miss the middle tashahhud, the middle tashahhud is not a rukn. We talked about this before. The middle tashahhud is a wajib, not a rukn. If it was a rukn, he would have had to go back and make up for this rak'ah. But because it is not, and now he is engaged in a full rukn, you will not leave the rukn to go back to a wajib. Never. Okay?
What about sujood sahw for that?
Oh, he has to do sujood sahw.
But
So
he didn't complete, he didn't stand up. He back, yeah.
Good.
Continue for tahiyyat.
Whether we consider this a nisyan, I think better to do sujood sahw because there's a hadith that says for any forgetfulness in the salah, there should be sujood sahw.
Even if already corrected.
Even if already corrected, just because of the disturbance and the forgetfulness, he should still do sujood sahw. No.
So at what stage does it?
Even some scholars said if somebody is used to doing a sunnah and he forgets it, it is sunnah that he do sujood sahw. So to that extent, but we limit sujood sahw mostly for the wajib and the rukn because we are not people who are always keeping the sunnah in the salah. Okay.
So if you want to go up and you've already lifted both hands.
Yes.
So
even if you lift it, as long as you're not totally erect, because the hadith mentioned that. One second. نعم قال شيخنا إذا قام الإمام في الركعتين فإن ذكر قبل أن يستوي قائما فليجلس فإن استوى قائما فلا يجلس ويسجد سجدتي السهو. He says, if the person stood up and did not do the middle tashahhud after the 2 rak'at, if he is totally استوى قائما means he has totally stood up, he should not go back down. But if he totally stood up, he should not go back down. But if he did not totally stand up, he should go back down. And then he says, وَلْيَسْجُدْ سَجْدَتَيْ السَّهْوِ. Now, does this apply to one scenario or to both scenarios? It could only apply possibly to the second scenario where he forgot it totally, then he does it. Or it could apply to both. Where is it? There's a hadith that says that the sujood, في كل سهو سجود, even some scholars applied it even to the sunnah, but basically this is what it is. I think to be on the safe side, he should do sujood sahw even if he corrected himself, even if he did correct himself. I think so. I will review that one with a sheikh and get back to you on it. Yeah. No.